Hi, it's Dylan and Jane from Balanceology here with another new series, this time about productivity. And in today's episode of the series, we're going to be talking about the importance of saying no.
Yes, because quite often we end up being very unproductive because we've simply got too much on our plate and there's too many things that we're trying to fit in. And therefore we either end up procrastinating, like we covered on the other series, or doing lots of bits of things, but we're so distracted we never get any of them really done well. So to be as productive as possible, we recommend looking at your commitments, clearing out the things that are not as urgent, sort of putting them on the back burner, and then working out how you can say no so that new commitments don't just keep sliding in. Okay, so now Blade is more comfortable. Yes, we want to get you comfortable with how to say no to people. So the key is really being able to catch the moment when somebody basically comes at you and says, hey, Dylan, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, I need to have this report submitted. I just need you to take care of X, Y, and Z for me and have it back to me. Is that okay?
And I would usually say, yeah, sure, no problem. yeah. Among all the other things I've said yes to in that day, or alongside all the other things I've said yes to, that I'm unlikely to be able to do, A, because I don't have enough time, because I've said yes to everything, and B, because some of it is actually outside of my area of expertise.
Yes. I know there's so many cases now where people are organisations are under-resourced and people end up doing more than one job. So it's that moment, though, where Dylan would have said yes, that we need to catch, because in that moment, he has a choice. When he consciously becomes aware of it, he has a choice. And in that moment, what could you do differently?
So I would probably say something along the lines of, I'm sorry, I can't help you right now, but come back to me later and maybe I'll have some more free time and I can help you then.
Yeah.
And smile.
And hope that they take it and leave.
Yeah.
However, the type of characters that this video is kind of set up to help you address are usually not going to be quite so easily fobbed off. There were lots of little pieces there which left a kind of weakness, like an openness there for you to be still trodden on. So by saying I'm sorry, it's a very British thing to do. We don't want to upset the other person. It's kind of a cultural conditioning. But by saying I'm sorry, instantly that person is put into on the kind of defense that, oh, I'm going to be let down here. He's not going to do this. So they already are getting ready to kind of counterbalance and say, well, look, Dylan, I really need it done. Also using the word but sets up expectation for us needing to, again, defend or push harder for what outcome we want. So if we drop the apology,
okay,
and you breathe down, feel kind of confidence rising, and you want to stop this person in their tracks by saying something that's positive, that acknowledges that you would like to help them. So it's sort of framing it positively. I'd like to help you. And then instead of saying but, and instead of saying however, use the word and. So I'd like to help you, and I've also got this project that I'm working on. I'm also tied up with these other things. Then say, can you come back to me later if you still need me? So it kind of sets the tone that you are willing to help and you're actually already busy. And that perhaps if they go away, they'll find a resolution for it themselves.
Does that feel like a big shift for somebody who's gone from always saying yes to actually really shortening down their response? And in some way it feels a little bit abrupt, but I get it's not abrupt, but
it needs to be concise, because otherwise you can get drawn into that place of then apologising afterwards. So I've told you to drop the I'm sorry at the beginning.
Yeah.
If you don't keep it concise, then there's going to be a possibility that afterwards you say, come back to me later. Oh, and I'm really sorry I couldn't help you. Or you end up sort of undermining the kind of power that you've been able to take in that moment to bat something back and defend your court, you know?
And how could someone make that leap from always saying, I'm sorry, or yes, I can do it, just I will do it, even though I can't really do it, to getting to that point? Is there something that can bridge the gap? Can they practice it in a different situation in their life, not in a work situation that has less at stake? Or can they, what can they do?
Yeah, that's a great example. You definitely could use other instances, because the likelihood is if you're letting work kind of pile up, and you end up sort of being snowed under with work, then that's also happening in other areas of your life, and you might find it easier to practice standing up for yourself when other people are putting things on you, not in a work context. Or one of the things that we do when we're working with clients is role playing. And so role play with your coach, role play with a partner, if you've got a supportive partner at home, with a friend. Take the kind of typical scenario that plays out each day that you're struggling with, and have a go at practicing how you would like it to go differently with somebody else. So you've rehearsed it a few times before you come to do it.
Great. So we've got the role-playing aspect. One thing that's happened to me when I've been in that situation, and in the past definitely in office-based jobs that I've had, people have come over to me and asked me to do something, and just the thought of saying no to them or just trying to fend them off a little bit has caused kind of a rising feeling of nervousness and probably anxiety and a little bit of shaking, and like the old heart starts beating faster, and that kind of feeling, that kind of fight or flight, I guess, feeling. How would you suggest someone could cope with that or deal with that?
So when that rises up in you, it really is a fight or flight type response, because your body really wants you to just get out of there.
But I'm stuck to the chair, I can't move.
And what you're trying to tell it to do is essentially to fight in some ways, because you're asking yourself to stand up to this bear in front of you that's kind of growling down at you. And I mean, nowadays at the moment, still with some people working from home, that scenario might be playing itself out on a Zoom call rather than in person. But either way, whether you're trying to do it online, whether you're trying to do it in person, offline, one of the things that can really help when that fear comes up is to take yourself aside for a moment, and where you feel that fear in your body, actually acknowledge it, and not only that, but exaggerate it. So this is going to sound a little bit extreme, but it actually works if you physically shake your body. So you know how I get the same. If it's something really quite daunting, I can feel my arms even shaking, my legs going wobbly, the heart's going, hands are sweating. Embrace that fear and give it an opportunity to kind of wash through your whole system. So really vigorously shake your whole body up.
You're talking about a full body,
a full on body shake, every bit of you.
And I mean, you'd have to go somewhere separate to the office.
Typically, if I've ever had to put this in practice, I've gone to the ladies' toilets and done it, and then just helps you to bring you back into that place of balance inside you, and that sort of space where you can feel your own inner power to then say, right, I can do this.
Because I guess biochemically you've got all this adrenaline kind of pent up in your body.
So doing a shake means you're not just sitting with the adrenaline, you're able to discharge it.
Because in a real sort of human fight or flight situation, if there was a bear, you would run, I guess.
Need to fight the bear.
Or fight. So that's the way you're expelling the energy.
So it's handling that situation as if.
But your body's not having the opportunity to
because it's having to sit on it.
Yeah, which is making it.
And then that means you get tongue-tied. You can't convey what you're trying to say with any clarity. Whereas if you go shake it all off, get your mind clear, take a few deep breaths, sort of power yourself up with your sense of inner power, and then come back and have the conversation.
That would make sense, because I guess in those situations I have felt God, I just want to run out the door, I just want to run away. And that is the body mechanism trying to get you to safety, I guess. And in that exact moment, I'm feeling quite vulnerable, or I have felt quite vulnerable. And it's just, I totally know how it feels, and it's not a nice feeling at all. So
but once you've done it once, it gets so much easier. It's never easy doing it that first time, but then it gets easier. You in doing this, you change the dynamic between you and the other person. The sort of status quo shifts, and that can be challenging for the other person as well. And they're used to you always saying yes, and they're probably used to most people in their lives always saying yes. So for someone to sort of turn things on them, turn the tables and challenge that, that can also kind of put that person's back up a bit. So you also need to be prepared for a little bit of discomfort until everybody kind of finds their place again and resettles. And really, what's underneath all of this is a bigger conversation that probably needs to come about workloads, about interrelations in the office, about encouraging a more collaborative working approach, environment. You know, it's not really just about the little bits that seep into your everyday task load, and
doing this by saying no, it isn't rude, and B, you're protecting yourself, which is the most important thing. In a nurturing and loving way. You're saying to yourself, no, I don't need to do this for somebody else. I want to say no because I've got plenty of other things that I'm supposed to be doing within my own role or within my own position, and I'm not going to take on extra stuff just because I want to be polite or just because I'm afraid of saying no. So it's like a self-protecting mechanism as well.
Absolutely.
And it's important, I guess, not to forget that, because we speak to a lot of people who are doing things for other people out of duty or out of respect or out of kind of cultural acceptance.
Or just because they have been almost bullied, really, into taking on too much. They need to take their power back to prevent themselves from burning out. And sometimes it's people who have actually completely reached burnout through giving little bits of themselves away here, there and everywhere without even realising they're doing it. So it is a huge step towards self-care, as well as towards helping you to be more productive, because you simply can't be efficient with everything if you've got too much on your plate.
Great. So the hot takes from today are: say no. Don't apologise. Use and, not but or however. So make a very short response. Remember that it's to protect yourself. And understand that there are bigger conversations perhaps to be had around the whole working ecosystem and the way that you work as a team. But ultimately, to improve your productivity, saying no to more things is going to help.
Just to keep your workload more balanced. And then you will be more productive.
Brilliant. Okay.
See you in part 2.